Hello, Robert here. I am in my garage, and we've had a fantastic honey flow so far this year. The basswood, the linden, the clover, it's the bees have just been packing it in, and so you got to harvest that honey, and that's what I've been doing. And anyway, I wanted to make a little video about I guess what you'd call different methods in hive configuration. Let me show you what I mean. So this is your typical 10 frame medium. It's what I use for honey. It's probably what a lot of you use. Very straightforward. This is not drawn out. So putting this on top of a hive, you would expect a frame of honey that looks something like this. Nothing wrong with that. The bees have done as they ought to do. It looks really good. So this is a configuration I've been using. Same medium, same frames. The only difference is I use 7 frames instead of 10. And this, you can see, is the result. You can see the girth on that frame. There's a lot more honey in there. And let me show you over here. You got to be careful with that. Don't want to drop that precious cargo. So that's 7 frames. You can see how the bees really build that out. And let me crunch some numbers and show you some things here about why I think this is a better method. So if you're a small operator, you have a small operation, you do things manually, right? So what I'm going to say doesn't apply if you have an assembly line operation where machines are doing the work. This is if you're manually uncapping, and this also does not apply to cut comb honey because the girth of those frames will not fit into cut comb honey, and I think they'd actually be a little bit wider than people's mouths if they try to bite into them. But anyway, I think it's a better method for managing your hives for honey. 7 frames or 8 frames rather than your 10 frame configuration, and I'll show you why. So first, let's look at the weight. Fire that up. I think I did make a hole. So let's measure this medium. So we are 5.18 pounds. And again, that is for our typical 10 frame medium. And now we come to our 7 frame medium. We're going to weigh this out. There you go. We got to tear that out. Okay. All right. So that is almost twice the weight. That is 9.48 pounds. That's a nice bass right there. That is a lot of honey. And I will show the weight of a 10 frame deep. Just as an example here. So we are 7, just about 7.5. All right, so what does that all mean for the beekeeper? What difference does that make? Let me get into that here. So I did some rounding down. So we have our 7 frame mediums. We have 9 pounds of frame, 7 frames, that is 63 pounds. 10 frame medium, 5 pounds of frame, 10 frames, 50 pounds. Our 10 frame deep, 7.5 pounds, 10 frames, 75 pounds. I have tried 7 frame deep and they will build it out, but those frames are very heavy, and oftentimes you need to reinforce. You need some extra brad nails in there, but the boxes are just so heavy, they're not worth trying to lug those around. So another consideration is just the amount of wax capping that is not required. So if you consider uncapping more honey and doing less uncapping, that's saving you time. You're getting through everything faster. And also for the bees, it's worth looking at this, right? So for the bees, they will have to cap all of those sides. That's 20 frames. So expressed in square inches, you would be on a 10 frame configuration. That's 1,700 square inches that per super that the bees will have to cap off. On a 7 frame configuration, you'd be 1,190 square inches that the bees would have to cap off, right? And so in total, right, per box, the bees will not have to cap off 510 square inches. Of course, wax is, it takes a lot more nectar to produce wax than it does honey. So that's less work for the bees for more honey. So there's another consideration. So we think about the bee space, all right? So as we see, right, so that's a pretty big gap, but we come back over here. The bees maintain their bee space. They just build those frames wider. Same bee space, right? It's just less space in the hive devoted to your bee space. So considering a bee space of 3/8 of an inch on a 10 frame configuration, right, we'd be looking at just over 4 inches of total net bee space. On a 7 frame, you're looking at a total of 3 inches of bee space. So that is over an inch more space for honey. I don't know about you, but I'm sold on it. I think less uncapping, more honey, less work for the bees. It's always frustrating when you come to the hive, especially in the midsummer, and you've got the bees are about 3/4 the way capped. They're not quite there. Maybe they're waiting for a heavier flow, but for whatever reason, they just haven't capped off the honey as you want. Well, if you remove a whole bunch of frames for them to cap off, all of a sudden they're going to be able to work faster, right? So you have faster work. You've got the bees are able to devote more resources to honey rather than wax, and you will have a lot less work uncapping those frames. So anyway, something to think about if you're looking for more honey, less work. Try a 7 frame configuration. I am in the dahlia garden here, and things are coming together beautifully. If you want to subscribe to my channel, I've got beekeeping content. My wife and I are flower farmers, so if you're looking for a channel, you're interested in these things, hit the follow button. Anyway, take care. Bye for now.